Hey guys, Skellington80 here. Happy Halloween, everyone. We are back for day 2 of 25 Days of Monsters. Today we bring you the story of Beatrice Rappacinni from Rappaccini's Daughter, written by Nathaniel Hawthorne in 1844. Category, Science Experiment. Base of Operations, Padua, Italy. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. When? Very long ago. Oh, that's helpful. Powers, the poison touch. Weakness, antivenom. Most dastardly deed, so many dead insects. And fear factor is 2, even though the fear factor is kind of relative, depending on how much of a wuss you are. Alright, let's begin. Dr. Giacomo Rappaccini, I'm terribly sorry if I pronounced these names wrong, of the University of Padua was a man fearfully acquainted with the secrets of nature. It was said that the good doctor cared infinitely more for science than for mankind, but no one could deny his genius. His specialty was the cultivation and modification of poisonous plants, and his daughter Beatrice grew up in his garden of death. Dr. Rappaccini created some of the exotic species by mingling parts of different plants Frankenstein style. Although the pieces he used were individually lovely, when they were combined, they showed a questionable and ominous character. The most beautiful and deadly flower in the garden grew in its heart, a shrub sporting a profusion of purple blossoms with the luster and richness of a gem. This was Beatrice Rappaccini's twin sister. Not literally, of course. Beatrice was not a plant. But the purple shrub and the baby girl were both born on the same day, and Beatrice was raised alongside the plant, nourished with its breath. Beatrice loved the shrub with a human affection. They were very much alike, these two. Both were achingly beautiful, and both were deadly. This was Beatrice Rappaccini's curse. Her breath was poisonous, her touch was poisonous. This wasn't all bad, of course. Mosquitoes never bothered her, because once they got close, they all fell dead. But it was mostly bad. Anyone foolish enough to touch Beatrice's skin came down with a burning and tingling rash. A kiss probably meant death. No one was sure because no one ever took the risk. Beatrice lived estranged from all society. She had her plants, of course, plants that only she could tend to because their very odor would kill any other gardener. Her father, I'm so terribly sorry. Her father was said to have instructed her deeply in his science, and despite her youth, she was already qualified to fill a professor's chair. Perhaps Beatrice would have lived her whole life shut up in this Eden of poisonous flowers. But one day, a student, Giovanni Guasconti, gained access to the garden. Giovanni was the first person, in fact, the first non-plant, her own age, that Beatrice had met, so naturally they fell in love. But it's hard to be in love when your touch is poisonous. Also poisonous, most of the plants where you live. When Giovanni visited the garden, he had to be careful not to touch, 1, his girlfriend, and 2, anything else. Over the time, hanging out in the garden started to have a strange effect on Giovanni. He'd walk down the street, and flowers would wilt as he passed. Spiders died if he got too close. There was a poison in his breath. He was becoming, as he put it, a world's wonder of hideous monstrosity, just like his sweet Beatrice. Giovanni had friends at the university, though, and one day he got a professor to whip up an antidote that would neutralize even the most virulent poisons. Giovanni offered his beloved a drink, hoping to make her normal. I'm guessing if you listened to the little blurb at the beginning stating her weakness, you can guess where this is going. But Beatrice was poisoned all the way through. 1 sip of the antidote and there was nothing left over. She keeled over dead. So, yeah, the first of our stories to not exactly have a happy ending. I kind of feel bad for Giovanni. They would have probably made quite a lovely couple if she wasn't poisonous. And also, I have a sneaking suspicion that she served as the inspiration for the DC villainess Poison Ivy, although it doesn't say anything in this book about her, so just a theory, I suppose. But that's just a theory, a monster story theory. I'm so sorry, that was a cringy reference. Okay, beyond the book. The all-time greatest literary poisonings. Literature is full of clever poisonings, but the undisputed undisputed champion poisoners of literature. Guys, calm down! Sorry, my dogs are barking in the background. All come from the 17th century English plays, such as The White Devil by John Webster, 1612. The Duke of Bracciano wants to bump off his loving wife. Jeez, I wonder why. He knows that every night he kisses his portrait goodnight. Okay, that might be why. So he has the portrait's lips painted with poison. One less goodnight kiss and no more wife. The Revenger's Tragedy by Thomas Middleton, 1606. The wicked Duke killed Vindice's wife with poison, so Vindice, I'm just going to say Vindice, because that sounds better than Vindice, dresses the remnants of the poisoned corpse up like a living woman and tricks the Duke into thinking it's his girlfriend. The Duke kisses the sleep gull and dies from the poison. Hamlet by William Shakespeare, circa 1600. Famously, Claudius kills the sleeping king of Denmark by pouring poison into his ear. Not as cunning as Bracciano's or Vindice's plans, but just as effective. 3 perfect crimes, but actually no one gets away with anything in the 17th century drama. So Bracciano, Vindice, and Claudius all bite the dust eventually. 2 by poison. Bracciano puts on a poisoned helmet, and Claudius is stabbed with a poisoned sword. Vindice just gets his head cut off, no poison involved. Okay, on poisons. Mr. Henbane, the toxicologist, has passed half his life in studying poisons and antidotes. The first thing he did on his arrival here was to kill the cat, and while Miss Cratchit was crying over her, he brought her to life again. And that's a quote from Cratchit Castle by Thomas Love Peacock in 1831. Alright, and lastly, the most poisonous book of all. Guys, please calm down! I'm sure it's nothing! Screw it. Just listen to the dogs going nuts in the background. In the 19th century, arsenic was often used as a component of green paints on wallpaper. Over time, the wallpaper would shed toxic arsenic dust. This was not healthy. Well, duh. In an attempt to raise awareness of the dangers of deadly wallpaper, Dr. Robert Kedzie bound a bunch of wallpaper samples into a book and slapped on a poison warning, calling it Shadows from the Walls of Death. He sent 100 free copies to various libraries around Michigan. Most libraries discarded the dangerous book, but a few kept their copies in storage. That's dumb. Over the next century, as more arsenic flaked off of the oversized pages, the surviving volumes became deadlier and deadlier. Every page turned sent a toxic billow of arsenic dust into the air. The wallpaper samples were beautiful, though. No non-toxic pigment creates such a lovely shade of green. And that is it for today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I will see you in the next video. Also, happy Halloween! Bye!